These are the days we need to seek God in fasting and praying. When Jesus taught the beatitude, kind of the attitude you need to have, that's what beatitude is all about. You can see them in Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. And the 6th chapter, Jesus said, when you fast. So he didn't say if you fast, he said when you fast. So it simply means that Jesus expects each and every one of us to develop a habit of fasting. And he himself set an example. When he wanted to begin his ministry, he began his ministry with the 40 days of fasting and prayer. So fasting and prayer is mainly for developing godly nature, to get closer to God. There are various reasons. So today I wanted to focus on one of the reasons why God wanted you to fast. From the book of Ezra, chapter 8. Fasting is for humility. When you fast, it's basically you're humbling yourself. You know, Bible says in another, Joel chapter 1:12, says that, come to me in weeping and mourning with fasting. Or Daniel, we are doing Daniel fast for 21 days. And book of Daniel chapter 6, Daniel says that those days I fasted and wept before God. I mourned before God for several days. So fasting is basically to develop humility in your life. Now, when you look at the book of Ezra, I want to read that portion from Ezra chapter 8, verse 21 to 23. It says that I proclaimed a fast so that we might humble ourselves before God and ask Him for a safe journey for us and our children with all our possessions. So we fasted and petitioned our God for about this, and He answered our prayer. Now, if you read book of Ezra, they went to build the temple. They built the temple and they restored the worship. They got everything going, and then they had a journey to do. They have a lot of possession to carry. And Ezra felt some of them become prideful. Do you know, when you have many achievements, without your knowledge, small wings start growing on both ends. And when you are really blessed and things going well, you also get tempted like Nebuchadnezzar, look around and say, wow, look at this. Isn't I made? Isn't my hard work? We may say God, but pride enters. Every time when you achieve, pride enters. The more higher you go, more humble you got to become. Because every stage of a success, achievement, you are challenged with the spiritual pride or financial pride or influential pride. All kinds of pride comes. So in the book of Ezra, they were going to travel to the new place, and they want God's grace, and Ezra felt some of them might have been very prideful. So they fasted for humility. Listen, humility is one of the most important qualities we need to develop. Meekness is not the weakness. Meekness is strength under control. When you are humble, that doesn't mean you're weak or you're frightened. In fact, you need to be really a strong, courageous person to be humble. Because we all have that fear. If I'm humble, other people take me for granted, or they may run over me. They may take me for granted. I got to be careful. I got to hold up myself so that no one run over me. So in order to be really humble and meek, you need to be a strong personality within yourself. Like say you go around with some very big people, and you went with somebody very famous and you're not known at all. And people sometimes ignores you and talk to that famous person. You know, when I developed this charity, my co-founder is Anita. She's English. And whenever we used to go for meetings, whether in India or overseas, and most of the time people don't talk to me because I'm a man, I'm an Indian, and young. They always talk to Anita. You know, some of them people literally neglect me. It is such a tough thing to remain like that. And I always look at them and smile. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, decision comes from me. So sometimes you act arrogant or proud because of the fear of being neglected or fear of other people running over you. But when you have that God confidence, you won't feel. One of the board meeting, every directors came and the managing director came late. The boss came very late. So boss came and sat on a corner on one of the chair. So one of the young junior executives said to boss, "Sir, that's not your chair. That's a chair. That big chair is yours." He said, "My son, it doesn't matter where I sit. I know who I am." So you need to have a lot of strength of God within yourself to humble yourself. Think about that. You're doing so well. Everything is going so well and so powerful and busy with the ministry, construction, money flowing. Then you cut off from everything and going for a 21 days and 40 days fast. Your secular friends or your mind or other people say, "You're mad. This is a time to make the money. This is a time to make the best. This is a time you're going to be on the move." But instead of on the move, you are withdrawn. Now, Jesus was like that. If you watch Jesus, after every miracle, when the crowd gathered, he was not like today's preachers who wanted to invite the crowd to come more closer and get addicted to the crowd. Bible says he withdrew himself. He even called his disciple, "Come, guys, come with me." And he spent time with the Father and his disciples. So, fasting is basically a time we spend with God. Our brains are not controlled by our stomach. Our brain is controlled by the Spirit. If you eat too much food and if you are having all the food, your brain connected to your stomach, there is so much of work going on inside. Digestion, and a lot of juices getting developed, and a lot of pipes and all kinds of things. Your brain gets so engaged. It is so engaged. Just think about it. If you have a nice fish curry rice, what is the next thing you feel? You feel drowsy because your brain got engaged in breaking down this carb, and it doesn't have the ability to keep its head up and think for itself. So, humility is an integral part of a Christian. Not only a Christian, even anyone who wants to be successful, anyone who wants to make it to the top, you need to wear humility. You need to be clothed with yourself humility. So fasting is to produce humility. So I challenge each and everyone who listen to me, learn to fast and pray. Join for Daniel fast. Maybe complete fast in the middle of this. Fasting always develop humility. Through fasting, we are telling God, it's not about me, it's all about. It's not about my tummy, it's not about what I want, it's all about what you want. It's all about throwing yourself before God. That favorite, famous song we used to sing in the church, olden days, say that Spirit of the living God, fall and fresh on me. Melt me, mold me, and fill me, and use me. So that's a fasting. You come to God, allow yourself to be broken, melted down, so that God can remove all the dross, all the unwanted things. Then He can mold you, He can fill you, then He can use you. May the Lord bless you, that you will be a humble person who will enjoy the goodness of God, and the world will see Jesus in you by your humility, not by your pride. God bless you.